It's The Log. I'm Charles Purcell. Oh, it's Friday. It's the end of our second week as a daily program. For those of you listening on all the platforms out there, if you're a subscriber, you may not know we are now a daily show as of a couple weeks ago. This Friday show will continue to go out to all the platforms, wherever you find your podcast. But if you want to listen to the Monday through Thursday shows, there you'd have to go to, it's very simple still, just go to SoundCloud, the WXRW page. WXRW, of course, that's River West Radio here in the River West neighborhood of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. River West, the greatest neighborhood in the world. Of course, you can find all programs, all episodes at charlespurcell.com. First order of business here for all of my Wisconsin listeners. The Wisconsin primary election is still set for April 7th. Headline from the AP, Judge won't delay Wisconsin election, but extends voting. So this is the important news if you haven't yet heard. A federal judge on Thursday declined to postpone Wisconsin's presidential primary as the coronavirus spreads, but he ordered that people be given an extra 6 days beyond Tuesday's election for absentee voting. So if you listened to yesterday's show, I was complaining about all the deadlines and all of that. But here, this is big news. Again, it's everywhere. You've probably heard this, but just in case, this is important stuff here. U.S. District Judge William Connolly blasted state leaders' decision not to delay the election to protect people's health, but refused to postpone it himself, saying a federal judge shouldn't act as the state's health officer. Quote, as much as the court would prefer that Wisconsin legislature and governor consider the public health ahead of any political considerations, that does not appear in the cards. Nor is it appropriate for a federal district court to act as the state's chief health official by taking that step for them, Connolly wrote. So the deadline for voters to get absentee ballots to local clerks had been 8 p.m. on Tuesday, but Connolly's order shifted that to 4 p.m. on April 13th. Connolly also extended the deadline for voters to request ballots by a day to 5 p.m. this Friday, so that's today. So as I speak, until 5 p.m. today, if you're listening after 5 p.m., take note. But if you're listening before 5 p.m., you can still request a ballot. And the deadline to get that absentee ballot to your local clerk, which had been 8 p.m. on Election Day, the judge has shifted that by order to 4 p.m. on April 13. So everybody in Wisconsin, if you haven't done it yet, get that absentee ballot and vote. The judge also lifted a witness this is big. The judge also lifted a witness requirement for absentee ballot applications, writing that voters can provide a written affirmation that they could not safely obtain a witness signature due to coronavirus fears. The Republican Party, oh Lord, these guys. The Republican Party of Wisconsin said it has appealed the ruling to the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, asking it to stay the order. The Republican National Committee and the party had urged Connolly to allow the election to proceed as planned. In a statement, the GOP said the judge's decision to change the date which absentee ballots can be received without any limit on the postmarked date, quote, effectively changes the date of the election, unquote, and needs to be reviewed by the appeals court. The ruling marks a partial victory for Democrats and liberal groups who argued that thousands of voters might be disenfranchised because time is running out to file absentee ballots. The party and the groups had filed 3 lawsuits demanding that Connolly postpone in-person voting, extend the deadlines for filing absentee ballots, and lift requirements that absentee voters supply photo IDs with their ballot applications and get a witness to sign the ballot before returning it. Every voter must count, even during crises, and this ruling gives voters critical time to vote safely by mail, State Democratic Party Chairman Ben Wickler said. Democratic Governor Tony Evers called it great news that people would have more time to request and submit absentee ballots. Several states have postponed elections or shifted to all mail in the face of the pandemic, but Evers and Republican leaders have been committed to Wisconsin's date. They argued there's no guarantee conditions will improve in a couple of months, and postponing the election risks leaving many local offices unfilled for an extended period. Evers' position on the election has shifted over the last few weeks. During the early days of the outbreak, he said he thought the election should go on, a stance that drew considerable criticism from Democratic allies. As it became clear that Evers lacked the authority to change the election law, he asked the Republican-controlled legislature to mail absentee ballots to all registered voters, a request the GOP rejected. On Wednesday, he said for the first time that if he could move the election, he would. So, bottom line, if you haven't done so yet, request that ballot right now, and you have until 4 p.m. on April 13th to get it in. You can waive the witness and the photo ID. So that's a little bit of good news on this Friday. Oh, we got to talk about this mask thing. Oh, my God. The mask or not a mask. They've been going back and forth on this for weeks, and especially in this last week at the Daily Dog and Pony Show. Oh, we'll see. We're not quite sure. We might be looking into that. There might be a recommendation on whether or not people should be wearing masks in public. Well, it looks like that debate is finally over. It's been so confusing, but it looks like, and I'm recording this early morning Friday, so this may be official by the time you hear me. Trump administration to recommend people in coronavirus hotspots wear masks. Okay, hotspots. There again, he keeps talking about hotspots. The whole damn world is a hotspot as we're trying to stop this spread. As somebody pointed out, did I save that? Oh yeah, here it is. Having some states locked down and some states not locked down is like having a peeing section in a swimming pool. Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm so tired of it. Hotspot is his favorite word. No. So this from, let's see, just last night, I guess. The Agent Orange administration is set to recommend that people who live in areas with high transmission of the coronavirus wear masks in public to avoid further spread of the virus. A White House official tells NPR's Tamara Keith. This is NPR. I'm reading. Mayors in New York and Los Angeles have already urged people in their cities to use face coverings in public. President told reporters at a White House briefing on Thursday that he was waiting for guidance from public health experts on whether people should wear masks in public. They've been asking every day, everybody's talking about it for the last week. Well, should we or shouldn't we? They can't seem to decide. But it looks like now the debate is over. Public health experts, Americans should be wearing masks in public amid coronavirus. And it was just this week. Here's a headline from Tuesday, March 31st, from the World Health Organization. WHO, don't wear face masks. That's from Tuesday. But then you read the article, and it's really mostly about the availability of masks. The main reason they didn't want us to wear masks was because there aren't enough of them, and we have to let the health professionals use them. They're the ones who really need them the most. So it wasn't for health reasons, because even with that blaring headline, don't wear face masks, and you know darn well people don't, 90% of the people who saw that headline did not read the article. And then there were even people speculating that wearing a mask might be detrimental, that, because of the moisture, you could be more susceptible, and all sorts of stuff we were hearing. It's ridiculous. And like with any story, if you want to fall on one side of an issue, you can always find somebody to back you up online. You'll find some crazy so-called expert. But these are the latest headlines. Here, public health experts. Americans should be wearing masks in public amid coronavirus. This is from Yahoo News. When the coronavirus outbreak first hit in the U.S., public health officials urged most people to forego wearing a face mask. Not anymore. Experts are calling for masks or other facial covering in public as confirmed cases in the U.S. increase. I do think we need to have facial coverings for folks, so everyone has to wear one, and we are protecting others from us. Dr. Dina Grayson, an infectious disease specialist, told Yahoo Finance. Grayson stressed that normal people don't need to wear N95 masks, the special respirator masks that are really recommended for healthcare workers and first responders who are in close contact repeatedly with people who are COVID-19 positive, the illness caused by the virus. Okay, so what else? Joseph Allen, the director of the Healthy Buildings Program at Harvard University's T.H. Chan School of Public Health, wrote a Washington Post op-ed arguing for Americans to wear masks. And it looks like the administration, CDC, are going to make it official today. Yes, recommending masks. Now, quick to point out, as they have, and Dr. Birx pointed out, I think, in yesterday's presser, it's very important that we don't get any false sense of security about this. Don't feel like the mask is doing the whole job. We still have to continue to follow all protocol, and that is mostly staying home, staying away from other people. I told you yesterday how I went out to do a little business, and there were way too many people. I was amazed at how many people were out there. So, I'll follow all the procedures we've been following. Stay at home, social distance. If you go out, stay far, far away from other people. And now, yes, wear the mask. Because as they learn more about this virus, we've also had mixed reports. And I'm not blaming anybody for this because it was a new virus, and they've been learning about it and how it's transmitted and how long it stays in the air and how long it stays on surfaces and things like that. But the latest reports we're hearing, and I'm very careful not to share information that's bogus. Okay, trust me. Listen to me. I sound like the orange baboon. Trust me on this. No, but what we're hearing now is that it really can't. You just through breathing on somebody, just breath, it can travel just by talking with someone. So keep your far distance. I've always thought that 6 feet distance was a little too close. I feel more comfortable at 20, to tell you the truth. So yes, wear the mask. It's especially important if you are positive for the virus, but you don't know it and you're asymptomatic. It's really important for people who have it to wear the mask so they don't spread it. And of course, as everybody should know by now, except for the governor of Georgia, my God, how can somebody that stupid be a governor of a state? He did not know until yesterday, apparently, that you can have the virus and be asymptomatic and be spreading it. He didn't know that. Lord mercy, how can you be that stupid? So yes, of course, you can be asymptomatic. You can have it. You can have it and never know you had it. Some people have it and never get any symptoms. And in the meanwhile, you can be spreading it to dozens of people. So yeah, wear the masks or a scarf of some kind. I'm sure you've seen now lots of videos, different ideas on. Some people just wore underwear on their head, different things. So yeah, do that. See, I think what it really is, I think the CDC and the Orange Menace administration, I think they were holding back, keeping us purposely confused and telling us not to wear masks until they and all the senators had a chance to buy just the right stocks in masks or in fabrics or something. Okay, you get your stock portfolio updated to include all these fabric manufacturers, and then we'll announce everybody has to have a mask. Okay, all right, senators, y'all got your stock? Y'all call your brokers? You got everything set? All right, okay. CDC, we're ready to go. Make the announcement. That's I think that's what actually happened. I'm certain of it. Oh, speaking of stocks, this is just, I don't even have words for this. This is so disgusting. Just out of curiosity, I Googled hot stocks to buy during pandemic. And here's some of the headlines I've got. From investorplace.com. 7 U.S. stocks to buy on coronavirus weakness. The coronavirus outbreak is a short-term problem, and these stocks are long-term winners. And yes, what's the big featured picture? It's a picture of a mask. The outbreak of COVID-19, a novel coronavirus strain which originated in China but has since gone global, is a big deal. To date, it has infected over 1 million people. This is written on April 2nd. Across the globe, killed at least 50,000, kept billions of people in their homes, brought the global economy to a screeching halt, and caused U.S. stocks to fall off a cliff. But not all is hope lost. There's a couple of typos in this thing. But now all is hope lost. I think all hope is not lost. I don't know. And now may be the time to actually look for U.S. stocks to buy on the dip for a few reasons. First, according to my modeling, the coronavirus pandemic has peaked in certain Asian countries, is peaking in certain European countries, and will peak within the next 2 weeks in the United States. Thereafter, spread of the virus globally should slow before being completely stomped out in May or June. And then they go on to recommend stocks people should buy to take advantage of the situation. You guys, this is sick. This is absolutely sick. Hot stocks to buy during a pandemic. Let's take advantage of this. Experts say to buy these stocks during the outbreak. New York Post. Top 10 coronavirus stocks to buy right now. If that sounds appealing, read on to learn about 10 outstanding companies that are poised not just to survive, but thrive during the pandemic. People should thrive during the pandemic. People should profit from this. How did we sink so low that we can even entertain these thoughts? The COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic has brought immense amounts of fear into the market. Many short-term focused investors have panicked and stock prices have plunged in response. But therein lies your opportunity. I'm reading now from The Motley Fool. Joe Tenebruso. You skunk, you snake. Are you kidding me right now? By keeping your wits and maintaining a long-term perspective, you can calmly begin to buy shares of great businesses at bargain prices, thereby positioning yourself to profit handsomely. What kind of a sick, depraved country do we live in? Looks like you want to invest in Amazon, in PayPal, in Facebook. There's a Chinese operation here. Shopify, Netflix, Zoom, of course. I'm just completely and utterly disgusted by this. Hot stocks to buy during the pandemic. 4 stay-at-home stocks to gain from the coronavirus pandemic. Zacks.com. This is not how the world's supposed to work, you guys. Jim Cramer, the crazy man from CNBC. Jim Cramer says these companies can thrive during and after coronavirus pandemic. Yay! No one knows for certain when the coronavirus pandemic will settle. The stock market will bottom and economic activity will return to its axis. Yet investors ought to accept that even as uncertainty abounds, opportunities will rear their heads. CNBC's Jim Cramer said Thursday, "You shouldn't be too eager to buy sizably here because we have to be prepared for some ugly headlines," the Mad Money host said, such as high infection counts and death rates alongside giant bankruptcies and failed pharmaceutical tests. Still, we need to keep our eyes on the prize, and that prize is what works once the smoke clears. Are we just devoid of all humanity now? Have we reached this new low? Well, I don't know what I'm so outraged about. I mean, it's always been that way. We've been profiting from war. We, they, us, the country, investors, profiting from war since the inception of the nation, exploiting workers around the world and here at home. So why should I be surprised? I guess I'm not surprised. I'm just infuriated right now. Oh, man. This goes on and on and on and on and on. Page after page after page. I'm on page 6. 5 internet stock picks to buy amid the chaos. Coronavirus vaccine. 5 biotech stocks to buy under COVID. It goes on and on. It goes on and on. Whew. Oh, I got to calm down here. Man. Coronavirus cases, according to, let's see, where do we go for this? Worldometers.info is where I go for these daily updates here. Today, at last count, at least 245,373 cases. Deaths, 6,095. Up nearly 1,000 from yesterday, which was up nearly 1,000 from the day before. So you see how that's going. So 6,095 deaths. Statements of condolence from the orange stain. That number remains 0. Statements of condolence from the sociopath in the White House. 0. Bobblehead Mike and the billionaire cabinet still ignoring their constitutional and moral duty to invoke the 25th Amendment. Speaking of our source here, worldometers.info, let's stay with these numbers a little bit. I've got a friend on Facebook. One of my few very, very conservative, evangelical, she's all in. She's all in on that side of the political spectrum. She's all in. But we met under circumstances that had nothing to do with politics, and we became good friends. And it was only later I learned of her persuasion. So for now, at least, we're still friends on Facebook. And I'm glad to see occasionally, get a window of what these people are thinking. And she shared this. Worldwide deaths from January 1st through March 25th, 2020. Because, of course, she was downplaying all of this. It's media hype. It's a hoax. She was taking that angle. So as of March 25th, 21,297 deaths by coronavirus. 113,000 by seasonal flu, 228,000 plus by malaria, 249,000 by suicide, almost 314,000 by traffic fatalities. You remember it was only a week or two ago where Agent Orange was making the same arguments. Well, people die of traffic accidents. We don't stop the economy. We got to get back to work. And it goes on and on, each number getting higher than the last. HIV, AIDS, alcohol, smoking, cancer, deaths by hunger, according to Worldometers, 2.3 million just in that first quarter, January, February, and March. And a couple of things terribly, terribly wrong with this. Now, the numbers are right. It's a legit site. I've checked it out. So the numbers are accurate. But there are two problems with this. One, obviously, it ignores the rapid growth, the exponential growth of the number regarding coronavirus. March 25th, it was 21,000. The most recent count I can see is 53,000. So it's doubled. Deaths have doubled in, a week. So there's that. And then there's also this underlying argument that, well, since there are 113,000 cases of seasonal flu in that same period, and we're not doing anything about that, well, then why should we do anything about this? That's the underlying argument. That's the whole point. There's all this malaria. We're not doing anything about that. There are all these suicides. We're not doing anything about that. Well, see, now that makes my argument. As a liberal, as a reformer, as a lefty, that's making my point. Yes, we should be doing something about seasonal flu. Who dies from seasonal flu? Well, of course, the people who are most susceptible. There are racial components. There are socioeconomic components to all of these things. Why do we have so many deaths from malaria and suicide? And who are the victims? So to make this argument is really pretty ridiculous. It's making my point, not yours. Me, the lefty, progressive, the part of the political spectrum who are concerned with the least among us. The poor and the sick and the elderly and the disenfranchised and the exploited. They're the ones we're fighting for every day. Listen to Democracy Now! I tell you every day. It's my daily reminder. Listen to Democracy Now! And listen to the people they're talking about. They're talking about the global south. They're talking about Africa. They're talking about people around the world who are incarcerated, people around the world who are in detention camps, the poor. And as we're beginning to see, the victims of the coronavirus, there is a socioeconomic component to that as well. Right here in Milwaukee, the highest concentration of coronavirus victims are in the neighborhoods with the least opportunity, in the food deserts, neighborhoods where people aren't getting proper health care and nutrition and education and housing. And that's the case all over the country and all over the world. Rich people don't die of hunger. Cancer is not colorblind, as much as the tearful advertising would have you believe. Substandard health goes hand in hand with substandard socioeconomic conditions and with institutional racism and sexism and homophobia. So to my ultra-conservative, ultra-evangelical friend who shared this post, you're making my point. You're not making yours. I mean, to anyone paying attention, the evidence is already starting to show itself. But when this thing really settles, we're going to look back and have a deeper understanding of the socioeconomic and racial disparities in this crisis. So there's today's meme of the day. Well, gee, you guys, I'm sorry I got so upset about things today. I mean, I wanted to end Friday on a little lighter note, and I guess I failed to do that. So let's all take a deep breath. Let's try to pretend there's a weekend coming up. I'm going to act as though it's a weekend, even though every day is every day is every day is every day. I'm going to take a couple days off. I'm going to take a deep, deep breath, and I'll talk to you again on Monday. Again, we got the Daily Show happening. If you're a weekly subscriber and you want to catch the Daily Show Monday through Thursday, that's SoundCloud. Go to the page WXRW, or just go to the website, charlespurcell.com. All right, I love you guys. You know I love you, and I wish you well, and I'm sorry I yelled at you. I got a little excited today. So take good care. Have a weekend. Do what you need to do, and I'll talk to you on Monday. This episode of The Log is available right now wherever you find your podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, iHeart, YouTube, and the podcast source. Enter Charles Burcell Presents in the search window. Or best yet, go to charlesburcell.com. There you'll find this and all the other series in the podcast family. Follow, comment, and contact me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks to our flagship terrestrial station, River West Radio, riverwestradio.com. Theme music composed and performed by Peter Donalds. From the New Arts and Media Studios in Milwaukee, I'm Charles Burcell.